Theresa Sundquist at Jackson Heights Elementary School. Thank you so much for being willing to have this conversation with me about the pandemic. Now, I'm tired of hearing about COVID-19, coronavirus. I'm getting fatigued, but I know we need to hear information about it. But I want to make sure we talk about things that are helpful and not just all the negative things. So thank you for being on the show today, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
For those of you who are listening or watching this, there may be a little delay because we're using Zoom, and everybody's using Zoom right now. So Zoom, I appreciate you. I heard their stock went up 30% because everybody's using their service now to make videos because we can't be together. But today I want to first of all, who are you? And we know you work at Jackson Heights Elementary School, so I got to give a round of applause for Jackson Heights Elementary School. I've been working with you guys this year. It's been great. I enjoy the staff. I enjoy the students. I mean, Jackson Heights is one of those places I come where I feel like depressed. I'll come and I just feel so much better being on your campus.
We love having you. The kids love you, and you make a great impression with them. They really enjoy it. So
I think they enjoy me because I was willing to get on their monkey bars for them, and they just all thought it was the funniest thing. I got stuck. I went on the monkey bars and I got stuck on the slide because my hips were too big and I couldn't get down. And I have that on video, but no one will see it right now. But anyway.
Good time.
So what is your role at Jackson Heights Elementary School?
So I am their school counselor. And I will do a lot of counseling with the kids, whether it's individual or in small groups. And so we kind of help out. We have a bunch of different titles of groups that we do there, and just help out around the campus where we can and support our teachers and students.
How long have you been working at Jackson Heights?
This is my 4th year there.
Okay. And how long have you been in the counseling world? I mean, I don't even know what the titles are. I always get mixed up about counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. I get confused.
Yeah, well, I've been in the counseling world, as you would say, for about 6 years. And so I've been at many different schools doing internships, things like that before I was an actual counselor. So I really enjoy the field, and I enjoy helping those kiddos.
And that was my next question. What do you really like about it? Like, what really just gets you excited about getting up every day, being a counselor?
Well, what gets me excited about it is seeing these kids progress when they're learning a new skill. And I just get so excited when I see that they've actually absorbed some of the information that I've given them, whether it's in a group or just chatting in the hall, and I see them use it. And that's the best part, is I'm seeing them interact with their friends, whether they're having a difficult time making friends, and I'm seeing them put themselves out of their comfort zone and go make some friends, or where I'm seeing them respond to a certain situation a lot better than they did before, instead of getting really angry, and they're using those tools and coping skills that I've provided for them. So that's what gets me excited and gets me up every day.
Well, I think what you teach them now, what you've been teaching them, is definitely need to be used now. Like, you've equipped them to deal with, you said, responding and coping with situations. So that's what we want to talk about today, because not just are the kids coping with a new situation, so are we as parents. And so I want to get some advice from you as well, as far as what are some things we can do as parents with our kids, because I just know the truth is this. I remember the Cosby Show. I watched a lot of Cosby Show growing up. And I remember the episodes when they were, it was time to go back to school, and they were so excited. It was the first day of school, and Bill Cosby and the wife were like, get the kids out the house. They were so excited. And this makes me laugh because I kind of, at first was like, oh, my kids are going to school, I miss them so much. And now it's like, okay, peace. Like, I love them.
See you later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now we're all back together, and there was no notice for this. There was no planning for this. There was like a spring break is coming. It was coming, but it came early. And so what can we do as families to cope, and not even just cope, but I think thrive through this new reality we're in?
Sure. So having those realistic expectations for yourself and for your students, just, kind of take it easy on yourself. We all know that you're not a teacher. We all know we're in this together, and, know your child, create those schedules. It's not something you have to stick to. Be flexible, and we'll get through this together. So we're just kind of all learning as we go.
Okay, so I'm taking some
Make
notes
sure
really quick. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when we're being realistic with our expectations and we're creating those schedules, just being mindful of what you know about your child and what they can tolerate. If you're setting up like 30-minute blocks, whether they're doing an app, whether it's Lexia or MobiMax, and these are the apps that some of the students have been working on for their reading or math, or working in a packet, remembering to give them those choices. And, another big thing is I hear a lot from the parents is that my kid does not know how to play independently. And because they're so used to a structured schedule at school and the teacher has everything set for them and there's a time for everything. What do I do? Well, I'm telling parents, let them play independently. If they don't know how, they'll figure it out. It's not up to you to plan every moment of their day. Just let them play. And you know what's going to come of that? Creativity, imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That's all stuff that they need to learn. Work on those life skills with them. Just kind of do your normal and add a little school into it as you can. And if anything, just read to your kids.
Yeah.
Have them read to you. Have them read to a sibling. That'll keep them going. But just remember, we're here for you. If you have questions, if you need materials, we're all here for you guys. So reach out to us and we'll definitely be there.
So I like what you said. Set realistic expectations for yourself and for your students, for your kids. Set some realistic expectations. What do you think about having a family meeting? Talk about the Cosby Show, right? Having a family meeting, getting everybody together and talk about expectations. Because I think one thing the kids, I remember watching a video of this guy, Mark Rober. He does a lot of science stuff. He's on YouTube. He's a very, very funny guy, but he does all the science stuff. He used to work for NASA, but he was actually doing this experiment at a school, and during his experiment they made the announcement that school was going to be closed because of the coronavirus, and the kids start cheering. These kids just start cheering. They're so excited. God. And then I hear a kid go, Fortnite. And so I think sometimes kids come home with this idea that video games all day every day, and the parent comes like, no, we're going to do some schoolwork. So I think it's important to come together and have a meeting. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I've got 2 kids here at my house, so I'm wearing mini hats. We definitely came together that first week just trying to figure it out before we knew where everything was going with this. And we discussed, what are our expectations? What is something that we can do? And I just had them be a part of creating that schedule. Mm-hmm. I even had my son conducting PE. Deciding how long we were going to do it, how many reps we were going to do. But you know what? They were invested, and they took more time to do it. And they really, I wouldn't say they enjoyed doing the schoolwork, but they were aware that it needed to be done. And you know what? They did have video games. I'm not going to lie. I was just mindful of it because I know as a parent, it kind of goes against what I've taught them, all this screen time that they're doing. I'm just kind of at the table, that's where we're doing our schoolwork. And then during their leisure time, whether it's TV, watching a show, or playing the game on the computer, they're hanging out on the couch or they're hanging out in their room. It's different. It looks different. It feels different. So just having them be a part of that, creating that schedule, and just be mindful of what your kids can tolerate, that'll help and it'll go a long way.
You said something great too, because if you set that schedule and you do it together, they have buy-in. So in other words, okay, you're going to have schoolwork from this time, and we'll set the schedule, have PE this time or physical education, and you're going to have screen time. And here's a limit for your screen time. And so as you look at that, they're not, oh, mama, they know ahead of time, hey, you only have this much time for screen time. And I agree with you. I think video games aren't bad. I think anything can be abused or be excessive. But I think giving our kids something that gives them some sense of normalcy, some fun, it's not all about schoolwork. And so I made a video recently with my wife. We talked about it because we're learning things too. And I think that's one thing. To give yourself setting expectations, you're learning as a parent. Like this is new for everybody. So give yourself some space to learn how this is going to work for you. And here's my one takeaway is don't grasp for what was, create something new. don't grasp for what was before, because if you work, now you got to work from home and you had a schedule working from 8 to 5, guess what? That's not going to work anymore. I think we need to understand that if you got kids at home, you can't have an 8-hour workday through those certain times, but you can make adjustments. Same thing with the kids. And I'll put it this way. I wish my kids would wake up a little bit later. Like, I mean, are your kids getting up?
Amen.
Are your kids getting up? Like, 'cause I watch kids sometimes. They're on a bus stop before the sun comes up. I think that's just bad. Now they don't have to be. So let them sleep in. So are you letting your kids sleep in a little bit more? Or what's going on with your expectations for sleep?
Absolutely. I mean, our expectations this week is school's not starting until like 10 o'clock. So my kids are sleeping in, they're having their late breakfast, and they're slowly waking up because this is our new normal. You know, teaching these kids, I think as a parent, teaching them how to weather through a crisis is going to be one of the number one lessons that we teach our children during this time. And so that's what we're doing here, creating realistic expectations. And I've got them walking around right now as we're talking, you know, trying to ask me questions, but just got to switch those hats.
You should bring them in. I would love to see them. I think her all messed up.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
But I think you're right. I think teaching our kids, that's a great point you just brought up. This is an opportunity for us to really help our kids and prepare them for other I don't say tragedies or other crises that come in their lives, because that's a part of development. I think in our world as a parent, we want to shelter our kids from all the problems. We want to make sure they don't see the problem. Well, let's say, hey, this is a real problem, and let's learn how to not, again, like I said earlier, not just survive but thrive through it. And it's can be a great training ground for new things in their lives. That's a great point.
For sure. Yeah.
So anything else you want to say about setting realistic expectations? So far I wrote down that, hey, set real expectations for yourself, for your students, get together as a family and kind of talk about what we can do and get their buy-in, get the kids invested in this new normal, and who knows how long it's going to happen, how long it's going to take place, this new normal. But you also said this, I want to talk about this for a second. You said know your kids. I would say know your kids, yes, but also learn your kids, because they're changing just like we're changing.
Absolutely. You know, take it easy on yourself and take it easy on them. You know, if you do create that schedule with your students or your kids, and, you know, if they're playing nice or they're doing their work like they're supposed to, don't look at the schedule and stop them and say, hey, it's snack time. We follow this schedule. You know, that's not going to work, because like I said, this is our new normal, and that is just a suggestion and just a helpful flow chart that you guys created together. You know, that was another bonding opportunity to show that you guys are invested, but it's not like you have to do this. You know, it's just a suggestion. But if you guys can just everyone get along and that's it, right? Because I know over here we have our moments where we're like, you know, we need our space too. So just being mindful of that and your kids and what they need and how long they could actually sit there and do work. You just don't want them doing busy work all day long.
Right.
You know?
I like the idea of flexibility within structure. I think the structure is so important. Setting those boundaries are so important. But again, understanding there's some flexibility in that, because we're all going through things. The other day, Sophia was having a not such great morning, and my wife is so wise. And so she realized that she was upset about stuff that she wasn't upset about. So it wasn't what she kept saying it was. It was something deeper. And my wife was wise enough to keep working through it and find out what it really was. And we got to the core of what it was. And that's being flexible. And so we switched some stuff up that day to make that day go best that it can go. And so I agree with you. Flexibility, but again, having structure that you can deviate from is important. Just going, hey, we're doing whatever, I don't think that works for anybody, because I think what I've learned working with kids over the years, kids need boundaries, and they respect boundaries. They respect rules. They respect structure. And I think it speaks to them that someone cares enough to give me that. And so we need to give them that at home in a new way, but also have some flexibility within that.
I agree.
Any closing words about this idea of setting realistic expectations for yourself and for your kids?
I think we've pretty much summed it up. You guys just kind of be mindful of what you can do, and we'll get through this together.
And I think that's the mantra, that we'll get through this together as families. That's what I'm really enjoying about this, that we are families together. And I think this is can work in positive ways for us as we look for the good and spending extra time with our kids. And I'm enjoying learning more about my kids. They are goofy as their daddy. Like some of the stuff my kids say, some of the stuff they do, some of the things they find so funny. I'm like, wow, you're like me. I just see, like, it's so funny. So I could share some things, but they might be a
You're
little
rubbing off
embarrassing.
on them.
Yeah, I'm rubbing off on them, but I'm seeing it. So, and
Yeah.
also, I'm learning that they're pretty smart, that they have learned a lot in school. And so I really appreciate the fact that the school has really done a great job of teaching them things. My son is using words and letters and counting, and he just turned 5. But things that I really appreciate about the school, about what they've been learning. So I'm getting to learn my kids a little bit more. So it's been lots of fun. So thank you for joining us
Yeah.
for this interview. I appreciate it, and hopefully we can make some more videos together, and hopefully a lot of families at Jackson Heights. Hopefully we can see you again. I would love, when this is all over, to do another big family night. That would be great, and just hear people's stories. So,
Yeah.
hey, if you got some thoughts or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and leave those in the comments section, and we can keep the conversation going about setting realistic expectations for yourself and for your families as we go through this new reality.